Hello and welcome to Hot Cup of Jazz. My name's Josh and this is my jazz podcast where we normally drink tea and talk jazz. However, I do not have tea at the moment. I have had too much coffee this morning, and so any extra caffeine or hot beverages is probably just going to tip me over the edge. But enough of that. This morning I wanted to talk about the recently released album by Jeff Goldblum, the one and only. It's called Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra, the Capitol Studios Sessions. I have just finished listening to the entire album all the way through, and I've got some thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys. I wanted to start it off by clarifying that I love Jeff Goldblum. I think he's really cool. I think he is really authentic. He is just him. I think he's one of the better role models in Hollywood. One of the better role models of people who are out there famous doing their thing. He doesn't do drugs. He doesn't drink. He's just a unique person in and of his own self. He just goes after the things that he's into, and I think that's really cool. And this album is one of those things. So it's probably come to light recently that he has been playing piano since he was about 15. He has a regular session in LA with his band that this album's recorded with. So he plays. He obviously acting is his main thing, and on the whole, you can tell that through this album that playing piano is not his main thing, but you also can tell that it is a passion of his, and you know what? He is not half bad. I just wanted to clarify all that off the top. General thoughts. I'm happy to say this is a jazz album. It's not false advertising. We got some standards on there, like Cantaloupe Island, Caravan. You've got some more swoony types, like My Baby Just Cares For Me, Straighten Up and Fly Right, G Baby, Ain't I Good To You. There's some good tracks on here. What are some... So, generally, like, it swings. When it swings, it swings. And I really like that. And now I think Jeff's approach to this album was he wanted to make jazz more fun again. I heard a quote somewhere that he feels like jazz of today isn't as fun, it's not as accessible, all that kind of stuff. And I agree to a certain degree, not entirely, but I think what he set out to do, he's done. It's definitely, it's fun, it swings, it's something that, anyone who just likes music will be able to listen to and really enjoy. I find, because it's obviously a live session with a live audience that they've then cut down into an album. And I think their choice to leave in some of the interactions between Jeff and some of the vocalists and the audience in the album is an interesting choice. I can see where they're coming from in terms of trying to keep it, trying to really emphasize that fun aspect of it. But I think it's kind of lost in the fact that those interactions were really just for the room and the people who were there. I guess it's fun to hear and to kind of see what it would have been like to be in that room, seeing Jeff do his thing. But at the same time, I feel like coming from a jazz album perspective, it would have been better, in my opinion, or I would have appreciated just having, the music just sitting there on the album. I don't know. I think the replayability is kind of impacted a little bit by having those vocal interactions. But that's just my opinion. It is cool, and there are some funny moments on the album with interactions between Jeff and Imelda May and Sarah Silverman and those types of things. Now, surprisingly, the big highlight for me in this album was actually not Jeff, not any of the vocalists, but the trumpeter and flugelhorn player on this album, Till Bronner. He is actually so good. And I guess it's not surprising because he's actually, a jazz musician. He's dedicated his life to this. But like if you cut this album differently, if you edited it down differently, you could easily have called this Till Bronner and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra featuring Jeff Goldblum. His playing on this, whenever he gets a chance to shine, it is delicious. His tone's amazing. I really love every time he gets on the flugelhorn. The flugelhorn's just got this really interesting caramelly type tone to it, and he really he really plays. I was very impressed, and I'm definitely going to go and check out some of his music. So definitely keep an ear out for him if you pick up this album. He is the highlight to me. In terms of Jeff Goldblum himself, he's definitely a capable pianist. He's been playing for a while. There are some really nice moments where he gets to open up some tunes. What was the song in particular? I think it was... what tune was it? Into Wish I Know How It Would Feel to Be Free. I think it's track 10. He opens that track, just him and the bass, and it's really nice. And he's a really capable piano player. I think he takes kind of a back seat musically. He generally just is accompanying. He does take a few solos throughout the album. They're okay. They're very bluesy and kind of bombastic. There's not many 16th notes. He doesn't really build and come to a climax or anything like that. It's kind of just very brief, short little motifs, no run-on sentences, any of that kind of stuff, which kind of shows, one, obviously it's not his main endeavor. He doesn't have, all the time in the world to dedicate to playing piano, and that kind of comes through a little bit. But at the same time, he does keep up with the rest of the musicians, and he plays his role as a accompaniment pianist well. And I think that's all you can ask for on an album like this. And you forget when you're listening to the album that Jeff Goldblum's on piano, and I think that is a good thing. I think you don't want to be like, that's Jeff Goldblum on piano. You can really hear that. I think it's good that it's not super obvious, and he plays his role, and that's good. And part of that, linked with that, it's nice that this isn't just, there have been instances in the past, I'm sure, where there's famous people who have hobbies that, because they're famous, because they have money, this, that, or the other, they get the opportunity to kind of do something. Let's take this for an example. Jeff Goldblum playing the piano, he's more known for his acting, all that kind of stuff. He has the resources and the opportunity to do this album, and there's been times in the past where maybe they're not that good at it, but they still get the front and center page, as it were. This is not the case, which is nice. This is a good album. It's not intensely, jazzy. It's not, your highbrow type thing. And I think that's okay. It was never trying to be that. It's a fun album. It's the vocalists on here, Melda May, Haley Reinhart. They're really, really lovely singers. They bring their own kind of swing and croon to the tunes that they're on. I think having Sarah Silverman, the comedian, on for Me and My Shadow was a bit strange. Her voice, I don't know how much of a singer she is. It's unique, definitely. It's not bad by any means. It's a bit strange seeing her out of context on that. But it was fun, so that's good. Yeah, I think, if you want to pick up an album that's just fun to chuck on, have in the background, you don't listen to much jazz or anything like that, it's a good album to pick up, add to the collection. It's an oddity. It's interesting to have a CD by Jeff Goldblum, But yeah, what else did I think? I think also, if you've listened to the Disney Does Jazz CD that was released a couple of years ago, that just got a bunch of working jazz musicians to get together and do their kind of renditions of Disney songs in kind of a jazz format. I think this CD has a similar vibe and a similar a goal of just bringing jazz to more of the masses, be more accessible, be more fun, be more about the music. And I think it does it. So, it's got that similar type of vibe. I think obviously what allows him to pull this off so well is that all the other musicians in his band are really capable, and that really helps. It would be I would like to hear what just a Jeff Goldblum trio would be like. It would be interesting to see him more kind of cut down, because there's quite a few musicians on here. Another highlight for me was the Hammond organ solo in Nostalgia in Times Square. I think that was something that you will find in modern and also some classic jazz albums as well. I thought that was a really nice addition and reference. But yeah, overall, I'm quite pleasantly surprised, to be honest. I was worried that it was going to be a bit self-fulfilling, a bit too Goldbloomy, but I think he really does take the accompaniment role seriously. He's kind of got this platform and presented his musicians well, and just had a blast doing it. And you can tell that this is a passion of his, that this is something that he loves, and that's really good. That rubs off, and that comes from a place of authenticity, which I really enjoyed. So I'm glad I picked up the album. I'll definitely be giving it a couple more listens, and it warrants a spot on my jazz album shelf for sure. And I'm really happy that I've got an awesome kind of reference out of it in terms of Till Bronner. I'm excited to check him out. I was really impressed with his playing. Some really tasty trumpet on there for sure. So I'll be checking him out, and I'm sure you will be seeing a Jazz Time with Bosch on him soon. Definitely. So I'll chuck all the links where relevant for you to go and maybe listen to a couple of tracks if you don't want to just pick up the album flat. But yeah, I liked the album. I think coming up to Christmas, it's got that kind of also that Christmassy type of vibe too, even though it's not a Christmas album or anything. There's no carols on it or anything like that, but it's got that sort of joyous feeling to it. So it'd be good to, if you don't like carols but like that kind of vibe. Sorry, I've been saying vibe and that a lot on this, but I really should expand my vocab. But yeah, you could pick it up to play over the Christmas break or as a gift or anything like that. But yeah, I was quite impressed. It's a cool album, and there's some nice moments on it, and that's all I really got. Yeah. Until next time. Well, actually, first I should say, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube and to my, SoundCloud. There we go. SoundCloud and Instagram. They're all Hot Cup of Jazz. Check them out. Listen to my previous podcasts. Check out my recommendations on my Instagram page. I come through with daily, more or less, tune of the days, as well as weekly artist recommendations. And I would love to talk jazz with you. If you wanted to drop me an email or comment or anything, HotCupOfJazz@gmail.com, or comment on any of my platforms. I would love to talk to you about it. As I've said previously, this is really just a passion project of mine. I don't have many people to talk to about jazz. It's not the most popular thing in the world, but I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I'm always listening to it. And if you find that you are the same, please say hello, because I would love to chat. Anyway, until next time, stay in the pocket and listen to some Goldblum. Bye.